we could go ahead and, we have a quorum. Yes. You want to take, attendance?
Yes.
Thank you.
Committee member Merritt,
Present.
committee member Macias,
Present.
committee member Velasquez, committee member Albert,
Here.
committee member Lopez,
Here.
committee member Gayton.
Here.
Okay, you do have both.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to ask if there are any comments from the public on matters not on the agenda. Anyone here in the audience or on Zoom? Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. We'd like to approve the minutes of our last meeting of March 17th of 2025. Hopefully everyone's reviewed those.
Chair, I move, I did review the minutes, move to review, approve the consent agenda, which is the minutes of the last oversight committee.
Thank you.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We should move on to our action items. 4.1. We'll take a report from Christy.
Hi, good afternoon, Measure Q Oversight Committee, MST staff, and any members of the public. I'm Christy Sugabo, Mobility Services Manager. Next slide, please. So today I will be providing an update on the fiscal year end to each of the mobility programs, and that includes the MST Rides Program, Taxi Voucher Program, Transportation Reimbursement Incentive Program, TRIPS, Travel Training Program, and the Navigator Volunteer Program. Next slide, please. To start is the MST Rights Program. So this is in cooperations with the Americans with Disability Act, ADA. MST offers this program to individuals with disability, preventing them from using the regular bus services, either for some or all of their trips. There is an application process, an application and an interview for the applicant to qualify. Once enrolled, certification can be issued as a temporary, 3 years, or permanent. All trips requests are by reservation, no same-day service, and trips are shared ride. Service is operated on the same hours as the regular bus services within 3/4 of a mile corridor from any MST fixed route bus stops. The fee for the service is $2 one-way trip. A personal care attendant or provider may ride for free, but a companion would pay a fare of $2. Next slide, please. So in FY25, mobility staff registered 724 applicants, of which 563 were new certification and 161 were recertification, ending the fiscal year with 2,692 total enrolled participants in the program. Next slide, please. So participation age range do vary. We have 66% at age 65 and older, and then 34 at age 18 and younger than 65. And then we have a very minimal individuals who are registered that is younger than 18. We have about 8. Participation based on mobility is at 71% of the registered clients are ambulatory, while 29% are wheelchair dependent. Next slide, please. This slide illustrates the certification difference in fiscal year 25 to fiscal year 24, where certification did increase by 42 approvals. It also show how many certification are completed monthly. And just to note that monthly certification do fluctuate based on how many applications are received. Next slide, please. So the next program is the taxi voucher program. So there are 3 different categories for the taxi voucher program. For the elderly seniors who are 65 and older, persons with disabilities, and veterans. Proof of eligibility is required in order to register and receive taxi vouchers. There are voucher distribution and sign applications for each of participating cities for the senior vouchers, as well as service providers for persons with disability, and those who are enrolled in the rights program receives vouchers, and veterans organizations. Once individual is registered and received their vouchers, they can call any of the participating cab companies. Currently, there are 8 cab companies. Each one of the trip costs is $3 copay and one voucher for a taxi meter one way up to $17. So if that one way trip exceeds $17, then it's the responsibility of the rider to pay the difference. And I do want to add that we are currently working with a taxi cab provider that has notified us that they are licensed to operate in King City and in Greenfield. Their cab company is called USA Taxi. So we're looking to launch we're still in the first phase of the working with them to get them registered as one of the taxi provider for South County, because currently we don't have any taxi providers in South County. Next slide, please. In FY25, we ended with 8,841 registered participants in the taxi voucher program. 62% were seniors, elderly, 32% persons with disabilities, 6% veterans. In total, there were 55,690 trips taken, of which 67% were by seniors, 31% by persons with disabilities, and 2% by veterans. Next slide, please. So this slide illustrates the comparison of trips from fiscal year to previous fiscal year. If you're comparing from fiscal year 22 to fiscal year 25, there was a 20% increase in trips. Comparing fiscal year 23 to 25, there was 18%, and then if you compare fiscal year 24 to 25, the trips were at 2%. Next slide, please. Another program is the Transportation Reimbursement Incentive Program. It's a volunteer driver program where a senior who's 65 and older, a person with disabilities, or a veteran who lives more than 3/4 of a mile from any of our MST bus stop services can choose their own volunteer driver. It could be a friend, a neighbor, or a care provider to provide them transportation using their own vehicle. And in return, MST will reimburse the eligible participant in the program, which is currently at 62.5 cents per mile up to 240 miles, but that is capped at $150 per month. Eligibility for this program is 2 years, and renewal is required. In FY25, majority of the reimbursed trips were for shopping and medical appointments, followed by trips attending community centers. And compared to FY24, there was a 20% increase in trips that were reimbursed. Next slide, please. So the travel training program is teaching individuals how to safely and independently travel using the MST bus system. Travel training sessions can be done one-on-one or in a group setting. And then to participate in this program is very simple. Simply just contact our mobility travel training program line or through our customer service at MST. or simply email us at mobility@mst.org. Training is open to anyone, varying from youth, persons with disability, elderly, or veterans. And skills that are learned will vary depending on the participants. So they can learn how to plan a trip, boarding with mobility aids or device such as a wheelchair, reading and understanding bus maps and schedule, or using our transit app tools, or just simply identifying the correct bus stop to use. So our mobility trainers have worked with organizations like Hope Services, Interim, schools, senior housing facilities, senior centers, and veterans organizations. This fiscal year, we took seniors from the Salinas Firehouse to Monterey. A senior resident of Pacific Grove, teaching her how to use her bus for her medical appointments. Seniors from King City, they attended the Monterey County Board of Supervisors in Salinas. And then City of Greenfield seniors to the Monterey Wharf. And then also the Monterey County Fair Senior Day is coming up. And our mobility staff is planning to take 3 groups of seniors, group from North County, City of Salinas, and South County. Next slide, please. And then last is our Navigator Volunteer Program. Our volunteers helps promote MST services and mobility programs to the public and provide bus ride experience feedback at MST, or work alongside MST staff at MST events. Volunteers are assigned at senior centers throughout Monterey County to regularly do outreach events. Locations include Sally Griffin Center at the Meals on Wheels Community Center in Pacific Grove, Alden Meyer Center in Seaside, Schultz Park Senior Center in Monterey, Johnston Oaks Senior Community Center in Marina, Chispa Senior Housing Community Center in Salinas, and then Meals on Wheels of Salinas Valley, North and South County social events. We ended our fiscal year with 5 volunteers, with a total of 570 committed service hours. But as of today, we actually have 7 volunteers and 2 are pending. Next slide, please. That completes my update. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Does anyone?
Yeah, through the chair.
Mhm.
For the taxi voucher program, this doesn't include, I can't remember, this doesn't include Uber or any of the share rides or any of that stuff, right? It's just taxi company.
That is correct,
Okay.
yes.
That's what I thought. Thanks.
That's all. Kevin?
Sure, I have a couple questions. We have here, for example, for the rides, 2,692 registered. I was wondering, are you able to generate numbers for the number of individuals or people who have been registered and certified over the entire life of the Measure Q program?
I can look into it.
I think it would be important because you're gonna have people saying, what, you're only helping 2,692 people? And tell you the truth, probably, back in 2016, some of the people we were helping at the time may no longer be around. But I would consider that to be a service that was provided at the time. I think it would be useful for the agency to be able to identify the total number of people who've been registered and certified over the whole program. Maybe there's a database that does that. Same thing with the taxi voucher program. How many individuals have participated in that over the entire life of the program? And that way we can show people, we've got 2,650 people participating now, but over the length of the program, we've helped all these people over that many years get the numbers up higher to show more accurately who's been helped.
Sure, I'll look into it.
Thank you.
Okay,
Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you, Chris.
thank you.
We'll move on to 4.2 and receive the FY 26-27 Measure Q budget from Lisa. Hi, Arlen.
Oh, thank you very much. Happy Monday. Lisa Reinheimer, Deputy CEO for MST. Nice to see you all. So this is a brief presentation on the board's adoption of the Measure Q budget, which is included in your packet. Real briefly, we are anticipating revenues from the sales tax at 13.2 million, which is the same as last year. We do get additional funding from a small amount of funding from passenger fares. And we do anticipate using all of that funding for all of the eligible expenses for Measure Q, including all of the things that Christy said. And about 64% is used for the MST rides program. The remainder goes into other Measure Q eligible funds. We are using this year a small amount of capital funds to replace some cutaways with some vans for our programs. But that's pretty much it. It's a steady state, nothing terribly outrageous in the budget this year. Although we are looking at potentially next year, 2026 or 2028 for a renewal of the Measure Q sales tax revenue that comes in until 2030. So with that, I'll stop. I know there were some questions, but I'll defer to the chair for managing questions.
One.
Yeah, my question is, so the reason why you're keeping it steady with fiscal year 26 is because I think your forecast is showing you're gonna be a little bit under budget for the revenues.
Right, so that estimate for the forecast to June 30th is 12.8 million, which is $400,000 less than what we're projecting, that we're anticipating for this budget, only because we only had 3 quarters of revenue available to us. So we're estimating on the low end. Next week, we'll get the actual from the state controller's report, so that may adjust up or down, hopefully up. So that was based on the first 3 quarters of the fiscal year.
Thank you.
Kevin?
Yes, I have 2 questions. First, on the first page of the cover sheet, it says that the estimate of 13.2 million for this fiscal year 2026 is the same as was estimated in fiscal year 2025. Then if I go down a couple pages to the Monterey Salinas Transit proposed budget, they have a FY 2025 total forecast, and it says 12.8 million. And I wondered what that's for sales tax. I was wondering, are those 2 different numbers or no?
No, one's budget number, one's forecast number. So the budget number that I referred to as the 13.2 in that first page is budget to budget. So what we budgeted last year when I was talking to this committee in August, I was telling the committee we're estimating 13.2 million. Now what I'm telling you what happened is we think we're only going to get the 12.8 of the 13.2. So it's budget to budget versus budget to forecast to end of fiscal year.
Okay, so estimate is different than forecast. That's
Yeah, I mean, forecast is looking forward of what we anticipate we're going to get. At the forecast to, because when we put this budget together was in April, so the forecast to June 30th, 2025 was basically looking in the rear view mirror, but also a little bit forward to the end of the fiscal year.
Okay, well, that answers that
Okay.
question. Slightly different measurements.
Yes,
The other thing is, as I look through this, seeing what people might criticize, one thing popped out at me, armored car, which has significantly increased to $192,000. Now, I was assuming that's money that's collected from the buses or something like that, but maybe you can
Yes.
explain that in case somebody asks about it.
sure. First, I would say it's not a Measure Q or a rides expense. It is an MST only expense.
Okay.
The issue with armored car services is with if the armored car were to pick up at every scheduled time that we ask them to pick up, it would be $192,000. But they don't. Sometimes they miss pickups. A vehicle is down, whatever the case may be, and they don't pick up every single time, so we don't pay for missed pickups. So that's the difference
Okay.
between the two.
And there's no portion of measure Q that's put into that saying, well, a certain percentage of passengers.
No.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so if you look at that budget detail, only the pink and the yellow columns are measure Q or mobility expenses. All the gray areas are, you can consider the end of the world. You don't have to worry about.
Was it always like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've tried to make it as easy as we can to focus in on just those without completely disregarding the rest of the budget.
Okay. Yeah, what I think I'm thinking of is the benefits where you do break it down quite a bit and give measure Q part of the expenditures. That's what I'm thinking of.
Okay.
And that is there on that first page.
Chair, if I may.
Yes.
Looking at fiscal year 2026, I do see the miscellaneous marketing at 26,000, and then for fiscal year 27, it drops back down to 11,000. Just curious why the sudden either decrease or increase for next year.
Is that under outside labor?
It's under materials and supplies. It's page 4, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 line items down.
Miscellaneous marketing, okay, so 26,000 in FY 26. Christy, do you have an answer for that? Miscellaneous marketing?
We are going to be implementing the have to pay.
Oh, yes,
on the
that's
MST
right.
rights
Yeah.
program, So it'll be
Do you want to?
ability, yeah.
Paul Sidorek, CEO for Monterey Salinas Transit District. As you know, a couple years ago, we started doing tap to pay on board MST fixed route buses where you can use your debit, credit card or enabled device. We are now planning to implement that on the MST rides program. The goal is to eventually not to collect any cash on board the bus so that we don't have any armored car expenses, because we pay a lot of money to collect nickels and dimes. And actually, we do collect some cash on the MST rides and other programs, but it's so minimal, it's not worth our while to split that up and try to charge it to Measure Q. But we do have that increased marketing effort going on for Tap to Ride, and then also a refresh of the website will be happening through marketing expenses over the coming year.
Other than that,
Are there any other questions?
Yeah, I have another question. For bringing this back to the ballot, is that something that would be coming out of the general fund, or would Measure Q funds be used for?
No, it come out of the general fund, not out of Measure Q.
no public money would be spent on campaign. Leading up to the campaign, opinion research, things like that, to decide whether it goes on the ballot, that would be coming from MST.
Okay.
And then once it becomes a ballot measure, then it becomes, the Monterey County Mobility Coalition or some other group to be named later that would manage a campaign and raise funding for the campaign.
Thanks.
Any other questions? No. Want to thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Moving on, 4.3. We'll receive an update from Norman on the transition of contracted services.
Yes, hello. Thank you, everybody, for allowing me the opportunity to be here to present an update on the transition of contracted services from MV Transportation to Transdev. I'm Norm Tuktabuki. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Monterey Salinas Transit District. Good to see you, Dan. It's been a while.
See you, Nor.
Wanted to just take a minute or two to talk about this. So for more than 20 years, approximately, give or take a few years, MV Transportation was the sole provider for MST's paratransit service, and then also a portion of our fixed route service. July 1st of this year, the contract was awarded to Transdev, and that was based on the work that we did to put out the procurement request for proposals, and evaluation. And then we also did interviews. There were three firms who were in the running. And at the end of the day, the scoring, the interviews, all of that stuff, along with the scores that we received from their cost proposals, were evaluated, and that resulted in Transdev taking over that contract. So effective July 1st, they pulled out their first bus. Leading up to July 1st, there were a lot of things that we had to do. We had to get ready for the contract. Part of that involved us inspecting all of the vehicles. There's approximately 75 to 80 vehicles that we had to inspect in a short period of time. What we do in that process, we go through each vehicle. We look at the mechanical, if there's anything wrong with the bus mechanically, if there's any paint chips, things like that that need to be repaired. And then we meet with the contractor, MV, and then we review those issues. And what we try and get to is an agreement where, you know, they can repair these vehicles if they don't have time, or if they aren't in a position to make these repairs, and we come up with a dollar amount that we charge them for that. So we went through that. We also went through a full inspection of the property that they were stationed out of before Transdev took that over. So that has happened. We're pleased with Transdev's performance so far. We haven't had the final numbers in yet, but we're reviewing the final invoice right now for the first month of service. And it looks like we're going to be able to say that they hit most, if not all, of the performance goals that we have put into this contract. So more to follow on that. Another thing that's happening that you folks should know about is, so we had the transition from MV to Transdev July 1st. We got another big project that's happening effective August 30th. So in about 2 weeks, actually in about a week from this Saturday, Transdev will be relocating from JLW, that's Joe Lloyd Way, where they're currently stationed. They're going to move into a facility in Salinas. That facility we've been working on for about a month. And we've been given notice that we need to vacate the property over at Joe Lloyd Way. The lease was not renewed, but we did have, I think it was three months, something like that, 3 or 4 months of time to get ready to move. And so we did that. We found a new facility on Rianda Street in Salinas, and we've been working hard to refurb that. So our folks in the facilities department, along with the owner, we've been busy at work, doing a lot of improvements, doing a lot of refurbishment. We removed a compressed natural gas fueling station. We went through the garage, totally refurbished all of that. We also, in collaboration with the owner, we upgraded and refurbished the offices there. So the facility is just about ready to go. We've got a lot of activity that's still happening in there. We do have one thing that's remaining. We're in negotiations now for additional parking with the Knights of Columbus, who own a facility right across the street from that division. And so we're actively in negotiations now. We're near the end, and we expect to have that contract wrapped up here in the next couple of days. Other than that, wanted to thank staff, Kevin Allshouse, Paul Lopez from facilities, Frank Marcos from our maintenance, and then also Marzette Henderson from transportation. Those 4 individuals, along with everybody else here, worked really hard to get the contract executed, get it kicked off, give those people the tools and the support that they need to have a successful launch. And then they're playing a big hand in this next transition that's happening August 30th. So with that, I'll pause there and see if you guys have any questions for me.
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
I don't know if you were the person negotiating with the Army. Was there anything in writing or told to you orally about why they did not want to renew your lease?
You're gonna tap in my boss. Yeah. There we go.
It's confidential.
Carlson, so yeah, no, they really did not give us much of a reason. They just said they were no longer interested in us having us there anymore. And it wasn't us, it was them, and they're reducing their footprint. To It's interesting, my daughter is in the Army in Fort Shafter, and she sits in on similar meetings of leasing property to local businesses there on Oahu, and I ran this by her. She could think of no good reason why we were an easy source of income for them.
Yep.
Ultimately, though, the good news is we found a better spot, and it's actually costing us less money
There you go.
to operate. We were comfortable in that location, but forcing us to move, we actually found a better location for ourselves, and it's slightly less money to rent. So in the end, it's a good thing. So,
Right.
and a whole lot less work to go through, working through the Army, as you can imagine. There has been a lot of meetings and a lot of administrative and bureaucratic issues over the years that it should be a little easier dealing with Mr. Rossi over in Salinas. So,
Good. Well, this confirms what Lisa, who I think is not here, told me, and we did a little article. Oh, hello. We did a little map and article in the Monterey Peninsula Chamber of Commerce.
yeah, in the end, it's a good thing. It took us by surprise.
Uh-huh.
But ultimately, our team came together in, around 6 months' time. We were able to come up with a better facility at a better rate. So all in all, it was a good thing. And we had a nice run with the Army. I don't want to speak ill of them. At the time we went over there, they were charging us a rate that was half the going rate of what we were paying at another facility in Salinas. And that eventually caught up to us. They did a market study and they realized that we were getting too good of a deal. And so they did start charging us market rate. So that
And they're
incentive wasn't
required by
there.
law to do that, right?
What's that?
They're required by
They were
law.
required by law to do that study. And so they did a couple of studies over the years, and eventually we were paying market rate. And by going to Salinas, we were paying market rate for Salinas, which is a little less than market rate on the peninsula. So
Good.
there we go.
Well, it worked out for you.
Yeah.
And this isn't in the purview of this committee, but you know what? I'm hearing a bunch of different stories like this and wondering what's going on. So I'll just let you, Dan, be aware. You probably have heard other stories yourself. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions?
No, no.
Okay,
Thank you so
all
much.
right, thank you. Appreciate it.
We'll move on to item 5, closed session, of which we have no business to conduct. At this point, do the committee members have any comments or announcements?
Nope.
Hearing none, I move that we adjourn.
So move.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.